We'll start with the prayer. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapad Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हुकुम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघयते गिरिम यत्कृपा तमहं वंदे श्री गुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम हरि ओम तत्सत्. Wonderful. So, welcome you all for today's class. Thank you, Satya Prabhu. We have been really, really missing you. I want to be very honest. So, thank you for joining us. Momita Mataji joins us from Toronto, always on time. Mataji, grateful to you for joining as well. So, we just finished Bhagavad Gita last week. So, we just finished Bhagavad Gita last week. It was a long journey. Actually, we started Bhagavad Gita around 2018. So it took actually 7 years for us, or 6.5, whatever years, for us to finish Bhagavad Gita. So we studied Bhagavad Gita 18 chapters. Krishna started the first and foremost. Bhagavad Gita started with Arjuna's problem statement. He asked so many questions about that, and Krishna answered that question and also explained Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And he also established Bhakti being the Sresht, Bhakti being the highest, right? So that's what he established in Bhagavad Gita. So nectar of instruction. So nectar of instruction is actually by Rupa Goswami. Who is Rupa Goswami? I want to spell that out because this is very important. This book is very, very important because this book focuses on how to practice bhakti. When Bhagavad Gita established that bhakti is the highest, now one may say, okay, I understood. Say, for an example, when in India, at least, when someone wants to get the highest education, they say, oh, I want to go to IIT and IIM. So first, I want to understand what is the value of IIT and IIM. And then once you understand that piece, now how do I get in there? And when I get in there, how do I actually come up with the successful number so that I can mint money, right? That's the whole idea. So again, this is mundane material example, but from spiritual perspective, when Krishna told Bhagavad Gita, bhakti is the highest, and the goal of Bhagavad Gita is to actually remember Krishna, to surrender to Krishna. However, someone has to explain how do we practice bhakti if bhakti is the highest. So, Nectar of Instruction are series of 8 verses, not a big book. It's a very small book, but it's a very beautiful book. It covers many aspects. It covers first and foremost thing, like we were just talking about. This is being written by Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is actually Rupa Manjari. So Krishna and Srimati Radharani, and then there are gopis of Vrindavan, right? So the gopis serve Srimati Radharani and Krishna, but there are manjaris. We don't get to hear that word very often, but manjaris serve directly Srimati Radharani, and there are lakhs and millions of manjaris. And the highest of them, after Srimati, of course, serving Srimati Radharani, is called as Rupa Manjari. After Lalita Lalita Sakhi and all that stuff, they are gopis. And in Manjari is there Rupa Manjari. And she appeared as Rupa Goswami in Chaitanya Leela. So whatever we have heard so far, we just heard about Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita. But when a Krishna departed from this world, which is in Treta Yuga, right? Lord Chaitanya came as a Kali Yuga avatar. In every avatar, every yuga, Krishna comes as a Yuga avatar. So in Kali Yuga, he came as a Yuga avatar of Lord Chaitanya. And what is the contribution of Lord Chaitanya? That he gave us the holy name. How he gave us the process, how to do bhakti. And he appeared as a devotee. He didn't appear like Krishna. He actually appeared as devotee to teach us how to practice bhakti. So one of the associate of Lord Chaitanya is Rupa Goswami. Right? So when we talk about the spiritual life, there are two aspects to that. One is the goal, and second is the means. How do we reach the goal? So the goal is to attain Krishna, right? Serve Krishna in the spiritual world. And what are the means? Bhakti is the mean, right? So Bhagavad Gita and Ishopanishad covered that how bhakti is supreme, right? So that is being covered. But Nectar of Instruction is basically specifically designed on how to establish bhakti, right? Nectar of Instruction will not talk about any other yoga. It will not talk about Ashtanga yoga. It will not talk about Karma yoga. It will not talk about Jnana yoga. It will only focus on bhakti yoga, right? Where does it start? When the seeker has accepted bhakti is the best way, and now bhakti has to be practiced, right? So that's what Nectar of Instruction focuses on. So Nectar of Instruction, like I was mentioning about, um there are various themes. So from verse 1 to 3, we will be majorly focusing on mind and sense control. Why it is important? Niyama, we call it as niyama. Like whenever someone is sick, they go to the doctor. There are two aspects to the medicine. One is doctor prescribe what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat, and then they give us the medicine. So when medicine will only work when you follow those niyama, which is what to eat and what not to eat, what to be done and what not to be done. So in spiritual life also there are do's and don'ts. And that's why mind control and sense control is very, very important aspect of it. So the 1 to 3 verse focuses on that, right? After that, there is a focus on attitude towards devotees and process, how one should behave after coming and understanding how to practice bhakti. I cannot practice bhakti alone. I need people around me who inspire me, who shows me if I'm getting distracted or if I'm doing better. I need a motivation. If I'm not doing good, someone has to guide me. Oh, you should not be doing this way. You should be doing this way. So there are attitudes in bhakti. So it focuses on that. Then what is the purpose of ISKCON? ISKCON is International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is an institution. But the purpose is very important, is to actually give us a platform where we all come together. Like today, we are studying Bhagavad Gita, sitting at different part of the world, like Momita Mataji is sitting in Toronto, and Satya Prabhu is here in Farmington Hills, and there are other devotees who join who couldn't join today. So different parts of the world, why we come together? Because we have a common purpose. So ISKCON provides a platform where we can practice the common purpose, right? So that's what it talks about. Verse after that, the verse focuses on guru and disciple relationship. What is guru, what is a disciple, and what ideal disciple look like? The next theme is sadhu sangha, which is associating with like-minded people. And then devotees, there are different level, different hierarchy of devotees. We need to actually understand whom should we associate with, and then how our progress is measured. And the last one is talking about the stages of bhakti, and that's a very important theme which we want to cover. So that's the overall theme which is being covered in that. Any questions or comments so far?
No problem.
Okay, beautiful. So the preface is basically briefly describing about the author and then the purpose of the book. So that's very important. So we will quickly glance through that. So The Krishna consciousness movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami is our mentor. He, like I said, he is one of the most prominent person or associate of Lord Chaitanya. Right. So when we talk about the Gaudiya Vaishnava or Bengali Vaishnavas are mostly followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had many associates, but out of them there were six Goswamis who actually were living in Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya asked them to go and live in Vrindavan, right? And those are the names which were Narottam Das Thakur, which was who was a very elevated Vaishnava. He writes Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhuja Bese Yugala Piriti. What is that? When I'm eager to understand the literature given by Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. So the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are a very, very highly elevated platform. One has to read these scriptures to actually understand the relationship and understanding these pastimes. It's like before going to PhD, you want to finish your 12th and then you want to do bachelor's and master's and then you want to do PhD. So they basically set up that. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared specifically to actually give us the benediction. Why did he come? He wanted to come and give us Krishna Prem. How to attain Krishna Prema. So he came there. And most exalted of all the activities of Lord Krishna and his pastime of conjugal love with gopis. Lot of time there is so much of misunderstanding about, oh, Krishna is doing Rasa Leela, which means we can also have relationship with more people. That's a completely wrong understanding. And that's why Lord Chaitanya came, and his all the manjaris actually came in a male form, because then there is no doubt about male female relationship, right? It's just easy. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but he came in the mood of Srimati Radharani. This is very interesting combination. Radha and Krishna combined came as Lord Chaitanya. And Krishna is Chaitanya is Lord Krishna, but in the mood of Srimati Radharani, which means Radharani is the greatest devotee of Krishna. How Srimati Radharani practices devotional service for Krishna, and that's why Lord Chaitanya's role is very important in our life, and we have to follow that. And the Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, was the leader of all Goswamis, and to guide our activities, he gave us nectar of instruction, which is also called as Upadeshamrita. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left behind him the 8 verses, which are called as Shikshashtakam, Rupa Goswami actually gave Nectar of Instruction and many other books, right? So, in spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control the mind and senses. Why we are struggling in this material world? Because we have uncontrolled senses and mind. You, me, everyone who come even to practice devotional service. Initially the challenge is that I can't chant more time, I can't focus, because it just the mind and sense control is not there. So the first duty is to control the mind and senses, not to stop them but to engage them in Krishna's service. And Prabhupada writes, unless one controls his mind and senses, one cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. Everyone within the material world is engrossed in a mode of passion and ignorance. So there are 3 modes we discussed in Bhagavad Gita: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So, mode of passion and ignorance is the degraded version, and that's where most of us belong to, unfortunately. Based on the activities we perform, we need to come to the platform of goodness. It is like when an aeroplane doesn't directly go in the sky. It actually goes on the runway. It needs a runway. It has to run to a certain distance, and then only it can go in the sky. So mode of goodness is like that um highway where this plane has to go, runway. It has to go run fast and then go in go to the sky, right? So same way, we need mode of goodness. We have to come to the mode of goodness. And that's why Rupa Goswami is talking about, to come to the mode of goodness, one has to control the mind and senses. And then the second aspect which I covered is basically talking about the attitude of the devotee, attitude of the follower of Krishna conscious movement. What we need to do is we need to become Goswami. What does Goswami mean? Swami of the go means senses, one who controls the senses, right? That is what it means about that. But however, our current situation, unfortunately, is that my tongue says, my senses say, oh, I should eat gulab jamun, though it is not good for me. But I say, no, no, I want to eat that. I want to eat something which is not good for me. We are controlled by our senses and mind. That's why we are Gaudas, Godas, senses, servant of the senses. But ultimately, we have to come to the platform where we become the master of the mind and senses. We control, we decide what mind has to do and senses have to do, rather than they decide what we are supposed to do. Any questions or comments before we jump on the first verse? Okay, no question, which means good, we are all clear. So we will read Nectar of Instruction, verse 1. Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jiva vegam udaropasta vegam etan veganyo visahe tadiraha sarvam api mam prithvim sasishyat. What is the translation of that? A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demand, the action of anger, and then the urge of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Very, very important verse. Covers various aspects one has to be monitored about. What do we have to monitor about? Tolerate the urge to speak does not mean that we should not speak anything. We have to work, we have to take care communicating in this world, because speaking is the way of communication. However, we should not speak mundane topics. We should not talk something which does not take us closer to Krishna. We may have to deal certain aspects, like you go to the restaurant, or sorry, you go to the grocery store to buy something, we have to communicate. So that's minimal, but basically major of our time has to be the words which are spoken through the mouth has to be controlled. We have to control the mind. So first we have to tolerate the urge to speak, second is to control the mind, and third is anger. You see, anger is such a worst quality that it actually devastates our mind. And when someone comes in anger, or we come in we come we become angry, we lose the discrimination power. We do not understand what is right, and we do not understand what is wrong. I'll give you one example. So lot of ISKCON temples or different places, they actually go and distribute Bhagavad Gita in jail, like in prison houses. So one time, it's a real story actually. Um, in Pune, Maharashtra, there is a jail, or there is a prison called as Yarwada jail, where actually the very highest criminal are actually prisoned there. So one time, Gaurang Prabhu, who is actually a very powerful speaker, he went there to give a class there. So he was giving Bhagavad Gita discourse in prison house, and lot of criminals were there. And then he asked, "Okay, what is their profile?" They said minimum two murders they have done. So Prabhu was speaking, and then towards the end, he just asked, "Are there any questions?" Like I asked, and there was one person who raised his hand up. So he said, "Okay, what's the question?" He said, "No, I will come there on the mic and ask the question." So now devotees were worried, because these are criminals, which means they can kill someone just within a second. So police said, "Don't worry about it, we'll take care." So this person came on the stage. He said to the speaker, while you were singing, you were saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. So in the scripture it says Rama. Why did you say Ramo? And then everybody started clapping. They were thinking about, oh, even in criminals there is this person who is actually a shastrik person. So he got, even the speaker got even more worried, what is coming on his way. So anyway, then everything subsided, and then actually the speaker asked this criminal, you seem to be intelligent, knowledgeable. How come you landed here? And what happened? He said, I actually killed multiple people. Why did you kill? You're such an intelligent person. He said, I'm a victim of my anger. When I become angry, I do not understand what I'm doing. And with that anger, because of that anger, I lost my discrimination power and I killed so many people. Right? So that's the power of anger. So what is this verse is talking about? Not just stop the urge to speak and mind control, but also actions of anger. One should control the anger, but how do we do it? We'll see that in an example. And then one should control the urges of tongue. Of course, tongue is also used for the speaking, but the bigger task of tongue is to eat palatable food, variety of food. We don't even realize the food we eat can be the reason, or it could bring us sin, right? So, one who does not control his tongue, whether he eats more, whether he eats which is not appropriate, because of that, there are so many issues, so many health challenges. If you see, go to Ayurveda, Ayurveda mainly says you have to control your diet. Everything, all our diseases come based on our food, what we eat, how we eat, when we eat. Very, very important. So today you see, almost at least in India, when you see every 1 kilometer or few kilometers there are hospitals. That wasn't the case in the past. When I was born, I don't remember there were so many hospitals. You had to go so far to see the hospital. Now almost every few kilometers there is a hospital, which means if there are so many hospitals, which means there are a lot of people who are getting sick. Same way here, we have to pay a huge sum of money for insurance and other things, and we have to go through so much of difficulty, and there are so many health challenges. Why? Because the tongue is not controlled. We eat anything, we eat everything, we eat anytime without any control. We don't control the quantity, and that's the problem. So one has to control the tongue in terms of what that person is eating, and one has to control the belly and genitals, which is eating more, and genitals is having unrestricted sex life, which is I want to enjoy opposite sex. And then that person who controls all these vegans, means the activities which are not good, the person who controls those can actually become the guru. He can make disciples all over the world, right? So one time, this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadev Goswami, tell me one thing, why people atone, and even after atonement they perform the same sin again, or they perform more sin again? What is the purpose of an atonement then? Like you see, like now Prayagraj, there is this Kumbh Mela is going on. Thousands of people go there. Some people go because they have so much of love and so much of devotion, but a lot of people go there to take a bath because they feel our sins will be destroyed. People go, so many people go to Haridwar and take a bath in Ganga thinking that my sins will be destroyed, which is good. We realize that we need to actually take a bath, and we have to be very understanding, saying that sin is a problem. But the problem here is that they do not stop incurring more sins, or we do not stop incurring more sins. We keep continuing performing various sins, and we have to suffer because of that. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking this question to Sukadev Goswami, what is the purpose of atonement when you can't actually, you again come back, taking bath, and then again you perform the sin? Like there are two classes of hearing. There are two classes of people. One is who hear saying that if I do this wrong, if I perform this wrong activity, then I will go to jail or I will have sin on that. That is a first class of person who hears and understand I should not be doing that. That's why hearing is so important. And the second part of the devotees who hears, but he wants to see things. Oh, I want to see. Does it really happen like that? So that's a second class of people. If you see, when elephant goes for a bath, it actually take a bath for hours and hours and hours and hours. And after taking a lavish bath, cleaning every part of the body, it comes out and then rolls in the dust. This is the exact same. One may laugh. Hey, you just now spent so much of time taking a bath. Why are you now rolling in the dust? You spoiled the whole bath which you took. But this is the exact situation we all have. We incur so many sins, and to destroy those sins, we perform those activities, but we again do those activities which are not, which are sinful in nature. Like you see, I'm not saying it's applicable to every Christian, but there are Christian who actually beg forgiveness. They go in front of whoever is the church leader or whoever is the pujari there. They go and ask him. They ask for atonement. I made a mistake. This is the sin. This is the sin I did. And when they come out, they again start doing the same sin again. What is the point of actually even uh, saying that I perform sin? And people think the sinful activity can be countered by pious activities, which is completely wrong. So the question comes is, how do I actually kill the tendency of again performing the sin? Right? Because I got all my sins cleared up, and now I don't want to incur more sin. Because of the sin I have to struggle so much. I have financial problems, I have health problems, I have other problems, I have environmental problems. It's so cold, right? So there are three miseries in the material world, whether we want or we do not want. They are there. Miseries caused by nature. You see, it's either it is too cold. In LA there is so much fire, it actually killed so many people. This is the miseries caused by material nature, right? Sometimes floods, sometimes wars, whatever it is happening. So this is called by material nature. Second is called as miseries caused by living entity, other living entities. Sometimes COVID, what was that? And virus which attacked and actually killed millions of people. So this is miseries caused by other living entities. And third one is miseries caused by our body and mind. So many people perform suicide. You see the numbers skyrocketed. Cannot handle stress. Where is stress coming from? Body doesn't have a stress. Mind thinks that I have a stress, and they have inability to control the mind, and because of that, they suffer so much, and they ultimately destroy themselves. Right? So this is the problem. One has to actually perform control the mind and senses. Tapasya. What does tapasya mean? Tapasya means doing something which is beyond our regular thing. Like, for an example, when Prabhupada established this process, he set up four regulative principles. There are four pillars of dharma. One is cleanliness, which is shaucham, and then the second one is cleanliness. Sorry, cleanliness I already covered. And then not saying a lie, being truthful. The third one is being merciful. So, no, when we talk about cleanliness, which is basically avoiding illicit sex, just illicit sex is actually practiced in the animal world. So, in humans, it should not be there. The second one is no gambling, right? No intoxication, and not killing any animals, right? These are four pillars of dharma. So when one performs austerity to practice these four regulative principles, this is called as austerity, right? So like in this verse we were talking about controlling the speaking power. When the rainy season comes, the frogs, they call we also call them toad. So what these frogs do, There are a lot of snakes around the waters as well, water reservoirs, the pond and other places. And then the snake cannot find out where is this frog. So what the tendency of frog is to make noises, and snake hears where is this noise comes from. He goes and catches that frog and he eats him up. Why? The frog knows that snake will not be able to find me, but the tendency to speak is so much there that it is calling its own death. Right? So unfortunately, you see so much news, so much this thing. Earlier times, I remember we used to have half an hour slot where we would hear the news, and it will only come during that time. Now there are thousands of news channels in TV as well as on phone, and what to talk about so much. Same information. This happened here, this happened here, this war, that war. Nothing good comes out of it. Just tendency to speak. So, what is the antidote? So, what should we do? How should we control our tongue? How should we control our speech? Whenever we speak, it's not that you have to do a maun vrat. You have to talk, but the question here is that speak something about Krishna. Whatever you heard, whatever you read, you discuss about that. That will actually make you sin free. Otherwise, if you are speaking other activities which are not Krishna consciousness, they may bring sin. But when you are speaking about Krishna during that time, you do not incur karma. Like in Bhagavad Gita, we talked about three karmas. We talked about karma, akarma, and vikarma. Before coming to ISKCON, I never heard these concepts. I just knew karma. Actually, karma, akarma, and vikarma. Karma is good activities, pious activities. Vikarma is impious activities, sinful activities. And akarma is any activity which does not. Akarma means the activities whose result do not give you pious or sinful fruits. What is akarma? Akarma is bhakti. When you practice bhakti, like right now, when we are studying Bhagavad Gita, when we are listening or speaking Bhagavad Gita, we are not incurring any sin. We are not incurring any pious activities because of which we will have to come again to suffer or gain. Because even if I am pious, if I come back and whatever I become a millionaire, that does not mean these three miseries of material nature will not act on me. They will still be there. The COVID will still be there for the folks, whether I'm a millionaire or whether I'm a beggar. So it doesn't differentiate. For those people also, the millionaire people as well as the beggars, they have to take a birth and they have to die. So that problem still exists. So akarma takes you away from that. So when you speak about Krishna, you do not incur any sin. Second aspect, we talked about mind control. Now one may say, okay, I understand. How do we control the mind? We do not control the mind, we engage the mind. And what do we where do we engage the mind right now? If you are not attending Bhagavad Gita, or maybe again, I don't, maybe if you are occupied doing some other activity while you are listening Bhagavad Gita, your mind is taking you here and there. But if I'm focusing, I want to hear this Bhagavad Gita, this message, which is being spoken by Krishna, and now Rupa Goswami is giving us nectar of instruction. You are engaging the mind. And what activities you are engaging? Hearing about Krishna, understanding about Krishna. Same way, when you use your mind to cook for Krishna, serve Krishna, help, serve other devotees, clean the temple, clean your temple at home, that is engaging the mind. And the highest way of engaging the mind is to actually chant Hare Krishna. That's the best way one can engage the mind. So that is about mind control. Right? The third one we talked about is the anger. Now, anger cannot be controlled unless everything else is taken care. But it can be engaged. For an example, people who are actually affecting other devotees. Like if you see Hanuman engaged his anger. How did he engage his anger? Because Ravana took Sita away. And to teach him a lesson, he burnt his Lanka. He utilized the anger to actually do that. Arjuna used his anger to kill or destroy Adharma. So this is how the anger has to be used. That's the third one. The fourth one we talked about is urge of tongue, which is we like to eat palatable dishes. So how do we take care of that piece then? We should honor prasad. Everything we eat, we should first offer to Krishna. Now one may say everything means can I offer meat? No. There are prescribed things which we read in Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. You can offer fruits, you can offer flowers, you can offer grains. The food which is cooked in the mode of goodness, or the food which is in mode of goodness, like onion and garlics, they are considered to be in mode of passion and ignorance. So we cannot offer onion and garlic. We cannot offer meat definitely because we are killing someone. How can you kill someone and offer to God? So that's why whatever we cook, which is sattvic, which is in goodness, you offer to Krishna. That becomes prasad. That's how we control our tongue. Second way to control our tongue is you eat at a particular time. I have prescribed time. I take my lunch at 12 o'clock. I take my dinner at 6 o'clock. You define that. I'll eat my breakfast at 8 a.m. And you should make sure you eat during that time. That is how we can control our urges of the tongue. The next one is the urges of genitals. So the men and women unite together only to beget Krishna conscious children. What is the meaning of Krishna conscious children? To actually beget children not like dogs and cats, but actually beget children and give them a culture. Teach them what is the goal of life. That's very important. You see, very interestingly, in our body, the tongue, belly, and genitals, they are in straight line. Why they are in straight line? If you control your tongue, you can control your urge of bellies and genitals as well. That's why we say what you eat is what you become, right? Jaisa in Hindi we call it jaisa ann vaisa man. Ann means what kind of food or what kind of grains you eat, that's how your mind is. That's why it is very important what we eat. If everything is offered to Krishna and you eat that prasad, it's a purified food. It purifies your consciousness. So one has to be very mindful about what he or she is eating. And you see, a lot of people, even in Ayurveda, if someone is having issues, health issues, they say, work on your stomach. Your stomach has a problem. So, belly will, how do you control the belly? By making sure how much to eat, when to eat, and what to eat. You see, people who are healthy, they have one secret they will share, that they eat right type of food at right time and in right quantity. A lot of people who are, you see, who are not fat, they don't eat in the night. They skip in the evening or they eat before sunset. So there is Ayurveda principles which are already set, and it helps you to actually come to the mode of goodness. That's why this is very important. Any questions or comments? And I know this is a common topic we are discussing. I'm sure there are a few points which you would like to add or share. Anything?
No,
Ev-
Prabhuji, continue.
Okay, everything is clear. So what we covered in this verse, we covered that one has to control vacho, which means urge to speak. Then what is that? Manasa krodha vegam. One has to control the mind and one has to control the krodha. Vegam means, what is vegam mentioned here? Urge. Urge to speak, urge of the mind, and urge of krodha. Jiva vegam. One has to control the tongue. How do we control the tongue? We eat only prasad. How do we control our speech? We, as much as possible, we talk about Krishna. How do we control our mind? We cannot control the mind. We engage our mind in various activities of Krishna. How do we control anger? We cannot control the anger. We engage the krodha only for people who are actually destroying devotees or affecting the culture of God consciousness, right? And one has to actually control, when what we say jiva vegam udarupastha vegam, one has to control the belly, right? And one has to control the genitals, right? So that's very important. Udar upastha means of the belly and genitals. And one, when one does that, he can make disciples everywhere. What does that mean indirectly is that person becomes Goswami, which we read in preface, right? How can one become Goswami, the master of the senses, when we follow some do's and don'ts, right? That's how we actually come to the platform of goodness. Then you see it's so easy to practice bhakti. So easy to practice bhakti because we are practicing, we are on mode of goodness. And that's how it enables us to practice bhakti very easily. So with that, I think we will end this today. We will just cover one verse. I don't want to cover the second verse. Pamita Mataji, would you like to have any questions or anything like that? Satya Prabhu, you have any questions? I think you just dropped off. So I thought we
So
are
there is
just,
a network issue. Sorry for that.
no problem, Prabhuji. We will just end today. We just covered one verse. We will bring the other verse next week. Any final questions or comments before we end?
No, Prabhuji, that was really great to get
Thank
control over all the things.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for
Thank you
joining
so
us
much.
today. We will continue next week. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Momita Mataji. I'll end now.